It doesn't matter where you are in your personal life and career. You need to see this video. It really is irrelevant if you're employed, self-employed, an investor, a business owner, or a CEO. You need to learn how to perform under pressure. On this channel, we're obsessed with business, and we've spent hundreds of hours doing research on our videos. We're always focused on bringing you practical information. That's why it's in our name, Practical Wisdom. We care about giving you what you need in order to take action, way more than just motivation. At the end of the day, you can be really motivated, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to lose it all. There's a quote from an American entrepreneur whose name is Jim Rohn about this. Motivation is what gets you started. Habits are what keeps you going. So we've done tons of research. We've talked with many entrepreneurs and helped thousands of people all over the world. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you one of the most important characteristics that all successful people share. You can apply it to sports, business, personal life, school, and anything that requires effort. This characteristic is the ability to perform under pressure. Today, you'll learn how to develop this, to become a beast and crush your goals. I actually have an interesting story on this. I have a very small group of friends, and we're all very passionate about self-development and always performing at the best of our capabilities. Not all of them are in business, but one of them, Mark, decided to get into it. I was already working as a salesman at the time, so he asked me for some advice on how to get started. Now, I'd known the guy for more than 1 year at that point, and I was pretty confident that he wasn't ready to start a business. So I advised him to first work on his mindset. Don't get me wrong, Mark was a nice person and a great friend, but he just wasn't ready. He had unhealthy habits, like eating fast food a lot, not exercising regularly, and giving up very early. Plus, he wasn't much of a strategic thinker. In business, it is really important to be able to look at the future with confidence. You always need to have to be crystal clear about what your next moves are. But he just wasn't ready for all this. Plus, he wasn't very good with stressful situations. He wanted to do exactly what I was doing, but he skipped the whole mindset part. He thought it wasn't necessary, and he was pretty arrogant about it. He just started reaching out to clients. He wanted to sell for them, as I did, but at a lower level, and he wanted to start with small companies that needed more sales. Eventually, he got his first gig, and he was very excited. Everything was good until responsibilities started to pile up. He wasn't really selling at all, and after 100 calls, he started receiving complaints from his client. The whole company was basically relying on him to make sales and receive revenue, and he wasn't delivering at all. With all this pressure on his shoulders, he eventually gave up. He just quit in an instant, and he got back to where he was before. So, what's the moral of this story? It's that you must be prepared to handle the pressure. So, let's go ahead and talk about how you can develop mental toughness in order to perform under pressure. Lesson number 1. Clarity on what is going on. A lot of the stress that you experience in life happens because there isn't clarity. I want you to think about the last time that you felt stressed and overwhelmed. Well, it's very likely that this stress was coming from one of these two places. You were ignoring things that you did not want to deal with at the moment. For example, you had to have a tough conversation with your wife or girlfriend, or maybe there were bills that were just piling up on your desk. You were postponing important stuff, and even if you were trying not to think about it, it was still in the back of your mind, constantly irritating you. There were too many responsibilities, and they were all on you. You had a lot of stuff to get done, and it was so intense that you didn't even know what to start with. Well, one of the ways that can help you overcome, or at least deal with this problem, is to get more clarity on what is going on. When I say clarity, I mean knowing exactly what needs to be done first, being able to prioritize tasks, and acknowledging what is stressing you out. There are many ways to improve your clarity, and one of them is to write everything down. I advise you to, first of all, keep a daily or weekly journal where you organize your thoughts into a diary. Writing stuff down forces your brain to properly organize and think things through. Ideally, you'd want your diary to be a physical one, not digital, and you should probably write by hand. Also, you could keep a productivity app that gives you an insight into what is going on, what tasks have been completed, what tasks need your time, and so on. There are many, like Trello, ClickUp, Slack, Toggle, and many more. I advise you to not make these systems too complicated. Otherwise, you won't use them for more than a week. So keep it simple. Download one do-it-all app and keep a journal. This will help you catch up with everything, stop forgetting things, and be an organized person. Lesson number 2. Be mission-driven. This is so fundamental. You can't start a very time-costly project that will require lots of effort without knowing why you're doing it in the first place. I mean, at the end of the day, we do things because we want to reach a goal, or at least get closer to it. If you're starting a business, why are you doing it? What is your mission? I know one entrepreneur that really talks about this subject. His name is Patrick Bet-David, and he's the founder of Valuetainment. In one of his videos, he talked about how the military helped him be mission-driven. The main reason why this helps you deal with pressure and stressful situations is that it will help you if you decide something is worthwhile dedicating time to or not. So if you know what your mission is, you will know when you're going in the right direction. Not everything needs your attention. You only need to do things that take you closer to your goal and helps you complete your mission. It's like a compass. It doesn't show you your destination, but it does tell you if you're moving in the right direction. And with it, you can easily change from walking in the right direction to walking in another. Then, being mission-driven will also help you get motivated when needed. There are times when you just don't feel like getting stuff done, or like getting out of bed. In such times, it's important that you know how to self-motivate. Thinking and visualizing your goal is what you need in order to learn how to motivate yourself. Lesson number 3. Learn how to process issues. Problem solving is what makes you an entrepreneur in the first place. But the thing is, at what level are you a problem solver? When you're in business and things are going well for you, it means you're selling. In order to sell, you need to solve a problem with a product. I want you to think about the last time you bought something. Maybe you bought some clothes. What did that solve? Maybe you bought food. That also solved a problem. Even buying luxury items solves a problem. The problem of finding well-designed, high-quality products that you enjoy. No problems means no sales, no profit, no business, and no entrepreneurship. It's a chain reaction. So, if you're in business, what happened is you've identified a problem in the marketplace that not so many people, or maybe even no one, are solving. So you decide to step in and become one of the problem solvers. So most entrepreneurs really have this skill, since they need to provide solutions. But a solution at what level? Thinking strategically and processing issues in a rational, not emotional manner is not easy. Anytime you encounter a problem, I want you to start thinking strategically. What are the logical steps to solve this problem? What is the goal, and why are you solving that problem in the first place? Thinking about the steps to solve a problem might not be that easy for you, but you really need to be objective and remove emotions from the equation. Be brutally honest with yourself, and you'll find the first step needed to solve issues. Having a team with you that thinks this stuff through might definitely help you become stronger and be honest with yourself on what's working, what's not, and what needs to be done despite the required sacrifices. Lesson number 4. Only focus on what you can control. There are many things that are stressing you out currently that aren't in your control. The goal of this lesson is to get you to stop thinking about anything that you can't control. At the end of the day, what's the point in stressing over something that you can't change? It makes no sense to have this wasting your energy and your time if you can't manipulate it in any way. Make a list of your issues and decide what you can control and what you can't control, and then just eliminate all the things that you can't control from your mind. Focus on what you can actually change. For example, taxes are a big problem for many businesses. especially those that are just starting out. But most of the time, you have no control over that aspect. Taxes are just going to happen. You'll have to deal with them somehow, so stop stressing over taxes. You can't remove them. So, these are some really practical tips that I advise you to practice starting today. Remember that the main goal is to get clarity, and as soon as you understand where the pressure comes from, you'll be able to focus despite it. If you enjoyed this video, please click that big attractive red button and subscribe to our channel. Here at Practical Wisdom, we're all about creating high-quality content on entrepreneurship, business, personal finance, productivity, and a lot more. You don't want to miss out. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.